Well, many thanks for staying with us. If you've just joined us, this is Global Morning here on Global Television, where we bring to you the front pages of the newspaper and topical discussions for your listening and viewing pleasure. Today on the program, we have Prof in the house as we will be discussing. We've had recent tanker explosions in the part of in Nigeria. We've had incidences of explosions, tanker falling, and then people coming to scoop fuel, and then explosions here and there. The most recent that would be particularly in the Niger State axis. Prof will be helping us dissect and also give his perspective on these recent incidences. Many thanks for joining us on the program, Prof.
Thank you and good morning.
Good morning. Can we look at, over the years, even before now, we've had tanker explosions. Most recently, people have attributed the desperation to go scoop fuel when we have falling tankers along roadsides to hardship. And we've had cases where people say, even before the economic meltdown and the hardship, we've had people also go scoop fuel even when we have falling tankers across the roadsides. And it's not necessarily caused by hardship. What would be your take? What do you think?
Well, I would say three things are militating against us. One, service delivering, insincerity on the part of the drivers, then greed on the other part. But close to wears and tears, and nobody is even checking those elements of it. That is one. And modern technology again has brought it to a notice where tankers are supposed to have salience. We don't have any tanker that is moving products in Nigeria that has salience. So modern technology is not even applied to say, okay, these tankers have salience. Some of countries have upgraded to, if not for now, I cannot tell. Apprehending to the first principle. Then, if we can't get that, we don't even have a salient. So these are what we are supposed to take cognizance of when moving product from the depot to the service stations. That is one part. The second part is that most of if there is anything. But can we actually stop these vices? Yes. It can be stopped by making sure that there are salient in our tankers. The tankers apprehend to the laws of 5 years exchange and the rest. So who are the monitoring team who make sure these are being monitor and evaluate, make an evaluation of what we are having today. But you can't give what you don't have. And that will have widened their revenue base. But the revenue base is streamlined to some certain things where they just asked you of your driving license, you are using phone while driving, and those minor things. Whereas the bigger picture where they will have made most of the revenues are not looked into or take cognizance of. So when I say that the Nigerian security system can generate an issue of implementation, because we have a lot of gaps that are not actually being looked into.
When you talk about implementation, how can we, better facilitate implementation of some of these policies or some of these solutions? Private individuals, governments, relevant stakeholders, how can they come together to ensure that we achieve just one goal, this one goal of safety?
When the policy framework is not there, when the laws are not there, there is little or nothing you can do. We have a National Assembly that is shaking because there are no professionals, shaking because people who are there are just, I am a politician, shaking because they don't engage people that has in-depth knowledge of some certain areas, shaking because there is a fiat that if I bring in this person, it's a gap period for people to intrude. And that intrusion is what we are getting to the scope of time. There is no tanker that has fall immediately and fuel is spilling and people just come into scope. There is a time frame in which these people has not seen anything. Security measures that says emergency period is 5 to 15 minutes. And there are detailed men on ground. They won't scoop the fuel. They won't even go near there. But when emergency response period is more than that period, elapsing 2 hours, then anything can happen and you don't have to blame anybody for it. We have these lapses, security lapses, and it is because of lack of knowledge of it. So when you see the establishing system, you find out that some state has state emergency agencies. And we have NEMA, which is the National Emergency Management Agency, and you see that these are just there. Then the other security agencies.
This, knowing that we lack emergency response, active emergency response in terms of emergency and all of that. The question should be, how do we begin to improve our system? What areas do we need to look at so that, because they say if you continue to repeat a particular thing, it means that you can be likened to a fool. And over time, we have seen this happen again and again and again. Tanker explosion, a falling tanker, and before you know it, commuters or people around that community go to scoop fuel and they are burnt, and then it repeats. It's more like a consistent thing. So how do we begin to improve?
A vehicle takes off from the depot and is going to Sokoto, for example. How did you monitor this vehicle from the depot to Sokoto? There is no monitoring system. It's not taking place. And you are using the same tanker for the next 10, 15, 20 years. There is already rust in it. What has these people done before they are loading these tankers? That is one. Two, do these tankers have sealants? Because a tanker that has sealant, no matter how it falls, the oil will not spill. That product has to spill before people will scoop. So if a tanker that has a sealant means that or have accidents on the way, if you check very well, they don't take place in those rough edges. I'll give you an example. The one that took place in Cuba, around Cuba, the Cuba Road. You cannot say that road is in state of disrepair. So, yes, the roads are bad.
When we return, the conversation continues. Please stay with us.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Well, many thanks for staying with us. It's still Global Morning here on Global Television, and we have been speaking with Professor IBRAHIM, who has been helping us make better sense of the recent falling tankers and explosions in the country. Prof, many thanks for joining us and for your contributions so far. But I want us to look at, having looked at, some of the causes and possible measures to mitigate some of the effects. How about the environmental factor of these falling tankers? There's to an extent an environmental possible hazards and all of that. So some of these spillages.
Well, environmental degradation will comes in because the issue of spill has to do with the environment. So as it's applied to the medical institutions and carry out a study on the bodies before they bury them. Then we also don't even do anything about the soil and how to improve on the soil. So we have a lot of things that keep us lacking behind because we are only looking at one atom, we are not looking at the other atoms. So what is done is the tanker is there. Sometimes they don't even remove it again. Sometimes they come to evacuate it. Then we also bury the people. If it affects life, we bury the people that it affects. So business as usual, and you just go on, which is not too good for our system as a nation, as a civilized people. And there are no rules guiding this. Who has done this, who has done that? There's no penalty, there is nothing incurred, no investigative system, nothing. So it is a rule of we sympathize with you and the sympathy ends there.
And then just move
but that also has to do with our laws, because when there are no laws, there are no guidance, there is no rules for you to play. So we have this tactically, and I don't know how they are taking it, because they are the people managing. I'm talking of the executives and the legislators, maybe because it has not affected one of them. Because this Nigeria system is a system where it's only when it affects you or affects somebody close to you that something is done about it, or they mitigate against it the next time. But we are not praying that it shall find a solution to it.
Okay, we don't pray for such recurrence, but like you said, we hope that they find solutions to it. But talking about solutions, how do you think that we can, mitigate some of the risk, maybe reduce the environmental risk that is associated with tanker explosions?
Well, from the first concept it has to do with the truck. In their service system, and also fine-tune their delivery system. By the time we engage in that, I think we'll have reduction in whatever thing that is happening to us.
And then as regards the soil, maybe solutions for those soils?
Yeah, it is supposed to be an active rule that when there is an explosion, they should go back and have a soil test. There is a time in Port Harcourt where we were having slumps everywhere, as if it is, and people were affected. What did they do? They did not do anything about it. It has happened in Port Harcourt, it has happened in Bayelsa, it has happened in Delta, it has happened in most states. So what have the authority done? They have done nothing about it. They didn't even understudy it to know what is the cause. If you know the incident that happens in Mina and how many people, if we can't do this, then we should also employ a system where there is a surveillance system that will take care of those processes. Then there is this issue of training and retraining. We are not training anybody. All we have here is from the service. Whereas there are driving models that are changing every day. The driving model of 1970s is not the driving models of today. So what is the progression period from 1960 to today in the driving system? We don't apply it, and they know the truth that we don't have any driving models here. We are still using an obsolete driving models here. So we have to change. Because when you are looking for driving models, you have driving models 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to driving models 8. But we don't even have even a single one here. So as far as you can enter a car, start the car and move the car, that is, you are entitled to a driving license. That is not driving models. So we have a long way to go where practically, and it is actually affecting our system.
Well, many thanks for your contributions on the program, Prof. We really appreciate you taking out time to speak on this topic of tackling the menace of tanker explosions in Nigeria. If you just joined us, well, we have been talking with Professor IBRAHIM ABUBAKAR, who is our in-house analyst, helping us make better sense of the menace of falling tankers and explosions in this part of the country. Well, to say you missed, you can always go back